Good morning and welcome to the Idea Ladies. My name is Carrie.
I'm Janine.
And we are from the Passionate Home in Langley, and we are so happy to have you here this morning. Candace is here behind the camera as well.
Good
Please
morning.
say good morning, friends, if you are there. And as always, if you have any questions as we're going, please type them in, or if you're watching later and not live, we will go back and read and answer your questions. We are excited because last week we asked you guys for some ideas of what you would like us to see. We are here every Friday at 9:30 live on Facebook, creating or showing you ideas of how to create a beautiful life and be creative. And 2 people last week wanted to see painting fabric.
Did you know you could paint fabric?
Yeah.
I mean the upholstery?
So we sell Annie Sloan chalk paint, as you probably already know. It is incredible. It will stick to almost any surface without, what are you laughing?
Shelly says good morning, and then she says, it looks like Brian is watching you guys. Yeah, planted, just saying.
He's in the audience with you. What? No, I'm totally out. Oh, Annie Sloan chalk paint, that's okay. It
Good morning
sticks
to Mark.
Any surface, morning Mark. Surface without sanding and priming, and one of the things it can also do is paint fabric. And when people come in, they're like
what?
What? Yeah.
Yeah.
We have some painted fabric here. It also paints leather, and when people touch it and feel it, they're like, "What?" Like
You're
you
right.
said.
Yeah.
It's truly a miracle.
Incredible.
Right here.
Oh, Mark's making a comment about Brian in the background. Mike says, good morning, Brian, go home.
So let's get back to business, people. Today we are going to demonstrate how easy it is to paint fabric, right?
Yeah.
So what would be the number one thing to do? I would say
pick your color.
Pick a color. So Annie Sloan has all these colors available. We have them all here in the store if you want to come and see them. But when you're painting fabric, it's a process of mixing it with water, so the color would be a little less concentrated than this.
Right.
Would that be correct?
Yeah. Well, you can kind of see on these samples, right?
And
So
it
this was red. This is our Emperor Silk red.
Emperor silk. So that's
Right
I don't have
there.
glasses on here.
Yeah. So you can tell, like, it's not quite as potent as it would be if you're just painting it straight out of the can.
Yeah. So when you paint fabric, people say, "Oh, can you paint fabric for me? And what will it look like?"
Yeah.
You could never say exactly. You need to be open for the fabric to interpret the paint and for it to create itself. Would you say that's right?
For sure.
Yeah. So today we picked a color.
Yes.
Yes.
We picked French linen. So this chair, you may think, looks gorgeous and beautiful, but look I don't know if you can tell, there's a bit of staining and stuff, so we're just gonna, see what we can do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we're not even sure. If we wanted 100% to cover this, we would have picked a darker color, like
Graphite.
graphite or something where there's lots of dark pigment to cover this. But we're hoping to keep it still light and French, and maybe even see the scripts through it still.
Yeah.
So that may or may not cover the stain, and if it doesn't, we're just going to mix more paint than water on the second coat.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we've picked a color, French linen. Now what do we do?
Okay, well, you're gonna pour a little bit of paint into a container, right? So I've got my paint already pre-poured here. I guess I could have mixed it in there.
Could have. That's a lot of paint,
Just
really.
coming in
But I guess we need enough to do.
Right? Okay,
Both
so I've
sides.
got some there, and then I want to mix about 50% water with that. So, I think that's about right. So you can mix it, you want to mix really well. So, you don't want any paint kind of in clumps in there. So you can use a stir stick. I like to use another little brush. So it really gets the bristles in there and mixes it well, right?
One of the tricks when you're painting fabric is to constantly stir, because the weight of the paint will go to the bottom of your dish, and then when you're putting your brush in, the bottom of the brush will be thicker.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Teresa Goosen says, good morning, ladies.
Good morning. And again, if you have any questions at all, please, we're always here. We're always here in a good way. Bring your questions in or type them in, and we're always here to help. So I thought about this morning, with every can of chalk paint,
Right?
Right? Or more.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, so we didn't really talk about supplies that you're going to need, right? So you need your chalk paint, you need your water. We like to use a bit of a spray bottle because you're going to actually wet your fabric before you paint it, so it's absorbing to the dye and the paint. Not soaking wet, just like a light mist on there.
A mist,
right?
Where are you going to start? We're going to do this and this.
Yeah.
And leave the back, right?
Right.
So do you want to start like here?
Good morning, Melissa.
So you can see it.
So the idea of getting it wet first is to make sure that your fabric is going to absorb. And you don't want to get it so wet that it's like, right?
Right.
You just want to see, oh yes, it's going to be wet. And that's the same as when you're painting the with the chalk paint mixture. You don't want to soak it.
Yeah.
You're just wanting to dye the fabric and not the stuffing underneath. So a spray bottle is your friend.
And if I was going to paint the wood on this piece, I would probably do that first.
Oh yeah.
Paint the wood and then come in and paint the fabric.
I mean, we do this, but we also read all of Annie's books because they are incredible.
Yeah.
This one here, Color Recipes, is brilliant, and it's got all the step-by-step on how she painted the chair here in her bedroom. But you can see step 1, step 2, step 3, and these are the things that we're going to kind of go through with you today. But a common question is, do I paint the wood first or the fabric first? And in this case, she's painted the wood first.
Yeah.
We're going to keep the wood this color.
Yeah, it's so pretty.
So, not to worry.
Okay, so you can see I've been stirring this whole time. Like, I don't want any little clumps of paint in there at all.
I'm going to get it all wet. Should we just get it all wet?
I think it's going to go pretty quick.
Yeah.
The
Good
other
morning,
way-
Neve. And Patrick.
The other way you can get it wet is by putting a brush, one of Annie's brushes, into a bucket of water and just working it into the fabric as well. Well, I'll just try it so you guys can see.
Good morning,
That
Juanita.
good morning. We're not soaking it, we're just getting it wet.
So my favorite kind of brush to use for painting upholstery is one of these round ones. It holds a good amount of paint and water in here. The flat brush, you know, it holds less, and it's kind of more of a line. This is more of that, right?
So you need a good brush.
Yeah,
Yeah.
natural bristles.
So what do we have so far? We have a paint colors, a spray bottle, some water, and a good paintbrush.
Couple
Right.
containers. Yeah.
Containers, and some cloths, because there's going to be
Yeah.
some dripping. People, let's be honest. Yeah.
Hopefully not on my clothes, because it doesn't come out very easily.
If it does, rinse right away.
Right away.
Strip, quick. All right.
All right, should I try?
Sure. Let me try. So some of you may be thinking, what if she gets the paint on the wood? You just watch and see.
Okay, so I've got a good amount of water and paint in here, and ooh, yeah, there it goes. So you can see right
Oh,
away
actually
that
looks really pretty.
it's quite a bit lighter than the French linen is when you just paint it straight out of the can.
Yeah.
So you can swirl it and just really work it in there.
This is a very flat fabric. Some of it has nap to it. And if it has nap, you want to make sure that you're using the brush in circular motions to get in all the little areas, right?
Right. And then you can see, what is this stuff called again? I forget.
Like oh my God, not jam, but piping,
Piping,
yeah.
right. So I want to get in there too, and then you can really jab your bristles into the crease there, just so you make sure that you, when you sit down and it's pulled tight, then you're going to have painted fabric.
That's like when people have the tufting, you really have to pull the fabric back.
Yep.
So, don't be afraid to get your fingers dirty in this project.
Sometimes in those really tight spaces too, I like to use an old brush that I've cut down so that it's super stiff. Yeah, it just shoves it right in there.
So as Janine's painting, if you were getting paint on the wood that you didn't want, just have a damp rag with you and just wipe it off as you go. Because it is water cleanup until you've waxed it, right? So.
And it's easier to clean up while it's still fresh than when it dries on there.
This is
See the difference?
I can barely see that water stain.
Oh yeah.
So if it were to dry, I love that this is almost a wash.
Yeah, it's
right?
beautiful.
Yeah.
So this is different than if you wanted to paint it solid. We would have put more paint in or chosen a darker color with more pigment, right? But this is actually exactly what we wanted because we wanted to still see the script.
Yeah.
This will dry, and it takes about 24 hours. If it's a hot sunny day, oh please let it be a hot sunny day. You would put it outside and let the sun dry it before you did a second coat, right? If you felt it needed it. But my concern is, as this dries, will this water stain reappear?
It may.
It might. So we'll just wait and see how that happens.
Yeah, so Melissa's asking what color are you using? So we're using French linen.
French linen.
And again, when you mix it with the water, it's going to be a much softer version of that because it's watered down.
Stirring.
Good morning to Holly,
Yeah.
Deborah,
Stir,
Melissa
stir,
Evans.
stir. If you don't learn anything today, remember to stir your paint. Yeah. So are you happy with the results you're getting?
I think it's beautiful.
I do too.
If it dries like this, we don't need a second
No.
coat.
No.
Normally you would probably do a second coat, but it really depends on the end result you're looking for, right?
Right.
Here, I'll get it.
Okay, I'm coming over.
Okay.
And then, so some of these areas are still a little dry, so I just spritzed it again. And then.
Yeah, you've done a really good job.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, you missed this corner here.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've got a little brush in this paint if you want it.
Okay.
My stir brush. So you can see I'm just working it into all those little creases. Oh yeah, see I didn't do this side because I couldn't reach it earlier.
There we go. So it's really that easy. We've had customers do full sofa sets, but there's something to think about.
Yeah.
If your fabric is orange, please don't come to us and say you want it white.
Yeah.
Be open for it to be maybe Oxford Navy.
Yeah.
If your fabric is darker and you want it light, you're going to do more coats, even up to 4 or 5 coats if you're wanting to go lighter. So when people say, you know, how do I paint fabric? We'll have a lot of questions for you. What type of fabric is it? Because we want you to be successful. What type of fabric is it? Is it a velvet? Is it a cotton? Is it a linen? Or does it have nap or a pattern? And what do you want it to look like? Do you want to totally block out the pattern and the colors? Or are you just wanting to do kind of what we've done here, create a wash? So those are things to consider when you want to paint fabric.
Yeah.
And
Neve,
the questions we'll ask you. Yeah,
yeah,
sorry.
Neve had a question.
Yeah.
Can you speed up the drying process with a blow dryer or will that mess it up?
That's a really good question.
Well, on a piece of furniture, the heat could possibly make it crack.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I would think that's an Annie Sloan. Annie, if you're watching, I think when I paint furniture, I have to practice patience
Yeah.
and come back to it the next day and give it a chance. Because I don't even know if the heat of the blow dryer, what if all that stuffing in there is really wet?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna get out of your way again.
So this is a good lesson. You're supposed to mix enough paint to finish the whole project. Right?
Uh-oh.
I used it, so. But I'm not too worried about it. I know some people are like, oh my gosh, I don't have the exact recipe, but I feel like it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Well, there are people who want to measure exactly, which is fine.
Yeah.
But we're always open to things coming. Now, it would have been more disastrous had she had gotten to here and not had
That's
enough.
true.
Yeah.
So you do want to consider, when we do this section here, if it's a little darker or lighter, it's not really going to matter so much because we just love how it interprets it.
That was pretty quick.
That was pretty quick.
I
So-
also, when I do something that's going to be bigger, because you want to make sure you have enough, I often will mix it in like an old coffee container with a lid.
With a lid,
Yeah.
and keep it to the next day.
Yeah.
So if it's a beautiful sunny day, we're going to throw this outside and then we're going to come and look at it. If we love it, we are done. Now, the other step could be to wax. To wax or not to wax?
Yeah.
So what would you tell a customer if?
I would see how it feels, right? Wait till it's all dry and you think you're done. How does it feel? So if it feels a little too stiff for you, wax it. That'll make it feel buttery and soft.
Yeah, almost like a leather.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
it feels still like fabric and beautiful, you don't have to do it.
No.
So each piece will kind of speak to itself as to
Right.
what it wants. If this dries and we still see a bit of a mark here, we may give it a second coat and may do a second coat translucent again. So it'll be darker, but still see this.
A tip I would say too is if you're doing something with a little bit of a nap to it, when it's dry in between coats, give it just a really soft sand.
Oh, good.
That is
Yeah.
another tip as well. And then when it has nap, before you let it dry, to brush it all the nap in
Same
one
direction.
so it's drying equally. A question that I've had from a customer before also is there is a little bit of it's not a rip, but it's a bit of a worn section. The paint will not fix that.
No.
No.
It will still be worn, but it will be a colored worn. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it
Yeah.
does hide it a little bit better in
It
some
does,
cases.
yeah.
But,
But if there's rips and stuff stuff, and it's still going to be there. It's a miracle, but not, crazy. Any other questions so far?
No, I think everyone's just enjoying the process.
Yeah, it is really that simple.
It is.
So we are open today and tomorrow. We're back to our regular hours, so closed Sunday and Monday. If you want to come and see it and feel it, you can see it today, but stop in tomorrow. It'll be dry if you want to touch it. Maybe we could do a little follow-up video and just kind of, for the people who can't get in, how do we think and what will we do next?
Right.
I think today we're going to paint this part of it here. And actually this chair, I'm just going to turn it around because it's really quite beautiful. Thank you. It has the fabric on the back as well. We're going to leave that because it's in great shape and it's always fun to have that mix and match.
Right.
And we're also going to leave the arm pieces.
My little trim. I'm going back in with my detail brush.
Good morning, Cheryl.
Good morning. So water, the more translucent. Always stir your paint. Have a good brush. Don't rush. Call us if you have any questions. We want to be part of the success of it, and be open to how your fabric will absorb and turn out. It's great?
Yeah.
Good. I wanted to point out, I'm just looking at the stuff here. You can also stencil fabric. Oh, actually, this is a whole apron.
Right.
With chalk paint as well. So again, it's painted fabric. Look at how beautiful this stencil is here with the laurel and the sea. You could put that on the back of your chair if you wanted,
for sure.
right? If it had something, because this paint sticks there.
So another question about the apron is it washable? So yes, you can heat set that with an iron, or just throw it in the dryer once the paint is dry.
Or the sunshine.
Yeah, or the sunshine, and then it's totally washable.
Yeah.
And then we did a video once last year on, last week, on how you dye fabric with the paint as well. So this paint truly is remarkable, and as we move into being the power of creativity in 2022, we hope to share more things with you so that you look at things differently and go, oh, I think I know I could do something with that.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think that's it for us today, but next week.
Yeah, let's do something. Let's vote.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
Okay, you guys.
So you guys can participate.
This or that.
Yeah. So next week, we would love to share another chalk paint project with you. So your choice is?
We can create a piece of art, some sort of a frame that we'll paint. We're going to paint on burlap, so it's painting fabric again, and
we're not going to do the hours.
Don't read that.
This is something that we
Oops.
Yeah. Don't look at that.
Yeah, we can make a custom piece of art.
Right?
Yeah.
And we can maybe use some stamps, some stencils, and of course the Annie Sloan chalk paint.
Of course. And then you can that will teach you how to create your own art.
Yeah.
Now somebody had mentioned last week that they're decorating an entryway. This could be making custom art for your entryway, right?
Yeah.
Or we are going to we could dive into the Pearlescent Glaze, which is an Annie Sloan product that you can mix with the paint or use on its own to create a little bit of a pearlescent look. Which is, can you see this canvas on this little board?
Yeah.
And we can kind of show you how to do that. So if you're watching, please share your ideas, and if there's anything else you would like to see us help you out with or share ideas, please put them in the comments, because we're here every Friday and we would love to bring as much value as possible. So
Totally.
all right, so vote for Janine or vote for, no, I'm just kidding.
This or that.
So, glaze or art, I
glaze
guess
or
is
art.
what we're going to say. Thank you so much for watching us today, and stay safe, and we will see you soon.
See you
Have
soon.
a great day. Bye.
Bye.